Okay, let's just get ready to do this community video for this month. Just get up the comments here. Oh, there's 50 comments. Hey guys, it's Calvin, and this is the community video for the month of March 2019, and I'm just gonna say, I'm fucking blown away by the amount of submissions there was this time. In fact, it was doubled from the last time, which is, it is insane. And I think that like 50 is manageable. I think it's a manageable amount to read out. If my throat, I'll tell you after this, I guess, if my throat is like holding up very well after all of this. But I'm very excited. If any of you guys don't know what this is, it's basically where you submit a bunch of like comments or answers to a question. I read them out and we discuss them and talk about it. And I am going to read every single one of these. And because there's 50, I'm not going to elaborate as much as I used to, but I will be discussing your comments because I think that's fair and that's the way things go, so let's do this. Revan. My first video game ever was Mario Sunshine. I played that game countless hours, but I never actually finished it until recently. I used to just mess around in it in every world exploring and just having fun with the movements of Mario. I'll always hold it on a special place in my heart, which is why I can't for the life of me rank it in my favorite game list because of the immense amount of nostalgia I have for it. I truly do love that game. Yeah, like, I never played Mario Sunshine. It's a game I really do want to play. For me, like, you know, I think nostalgia, you know, can blind people sometimes, but, like, I like to lean into nostalgia, so, like, if you keep leaning into nostalgia and just keep putting on those blinders, and who the fuck is going to take you out of that world, man? Stay in that world. It's a beautiful place. Don't let people on the internet tell you to get out of it. It's fucking awesome. Stay there. It's freaking great. Oh, Chunks HD. Oh, Chunks is going to start a fight now in a second, of course. One of my first was Super Paper Mario. That was my childhood. Now, this is pretty crazy for me because that game, Super Paper Mario, I believe, came out when I was fairly old, I think. Not old, but came out at a time that I was, you know, not young. So I checked the date, it's like 2007, which I would have been going into secondary school at that point, which I think the games I would have been playing right now, I probably would have been obsessed with Left 4 Dead and Gears of War and games like that and Lost Odyssey. Those would have been the games that I was kind of like really leaning into at that time. Of course, Shadow of the Colossus as well. But yeah, it's crazy to see like the differences in like where we started, you know what I mean? Thackeray Scroggins. I can remember 3 games specifically, all on the PS2 and all fantastic. Kingdom Hearts. I remember playing this game with my mom. I was really young at the time, so I was really just watching her play it. And later on, I would play it a lot, and it has a very deep place in my heart. Spyro the Dragon. Another game I watched my mom play and remember loving the music of that game. Yes, it's so good. It's so good, and thought it was just amazing. And Dark Cloud, oh my god. Oh, good gravy, this game is fantastic. It's in my top 3 video games. I played this game to death, and I have a blast playing it with my mom. Kind of running a theme here. Yeah, it's actually really interesting. It actually is really cool as well. This game is just awesome, and I wish I could play it fresh again, and I highly suggest anyone looking for a great RPG. I love RPGs. I would love to play Dark Cloud. It's actually very cheap right now. I think it's only like €3 on the PlayStation Store. I think picking it up would actually not be a bad idea. But yeah, that's really sweet, by the way. For me, like, I found a lot of my games when I was younger from my aunt. My brother played a lot of, like, sports games that I was into, but, like, as soon as I found, like, stuff like Shadow of the Colossus off my friend James, and, like, finding out about, like, Final Fantasy from him, but also, like, from my aunt finding out about Tekken, I was like, whoa, video games are this whole new world. It's very sweet, and Spyro the Dragon's fucking amazing. It's a really great game. Doggy NGT. The first game I ever got was The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, but the first game I ever played was Nintendogs. So basically the DS was my childhood, and I still don't know which to count as my first game ever. That's fine, it's 100% okay. Again, it's strange because, like, again, the DS came out when I was very much, I think I got the DS for the first time, like, I think probably like in 2011. I like picked up a DS Lite from GameStop. I was like, okay, like I'll get that €90 DS Lite, and I played like Pokemon something on it. I forget what I played, but like I didn't even play that far. I got like stuck in like a cave or some shit. But yeah, good picks. Good picks. What good picks? There can't be any other picks. They're their first games, Calvin. Get it together. Dementio Cypher. The first game I ever experienced in any way was Super Paper Mario on the Wii. This game is my #1 favorite game of all time. I'm currently playing that game. And by the way, Spirit Tracks, just a comment on Spirit Tracks really quickly. Sorry for interrupting this comment, but I love Spirit Tracks to death. Yeah, I'm currently playing Super Paper Mario, and I fucking love it. I think it's great. I think it's just paced really well, and I think I'm having just the world of fun with it. And I'm kind of like excited to see the ending, but at the same time very sad that the game is ending also. It's exciting to go into a new series, but at the same time, it's like a series that I think has been so good to me and so much fun and so easy just to jump into. Maestro. My first video game was Zelda Minish Cap. Definitely isn't my top 10 anymore, but I have a lot of great memories as a kid just playing it for countless hours on my Game Boy Advance on road trips, and now Zelda is my favorite series. Again, I played Minish Cap and thought it was absolutely fantastic. I'd give it like a really, really high rating in my heart and in my head as well. I love that game. That game for you as like your childhood, as being like one of your first games, especially in a road trip setting, I am envious. That sounds amazing. That sounds glorious. Because like for me myself, I would play the PSP in the car of my granddad's car as I was going places, and I'd play Tekken 5, and I remember that vividly. That was always fantastic. Matthew Moore. It was definitely Halo CE. What does that mean? Oh god, I'm done already. When I was 6, my dad introduced me to it, and I completely fell in love with the entire series. And even today, I continue to play the Halo games. Man, I did not expect, like, again, it's great that we do have a Halo game on here, but like it's so weird how, like, again, how I don't understand how diverse my community on my channel is until I do these videos and I understand, like, oh my god, this person likes this and this person likes that. And someone liking Halo is something I didn't really expect. I think I played one Halo game in my life, but I'm not very good at them, so I guess that's why I never really got attached to them. But again, you see a running theme in a lot of these stuff is that they're introduced to each other by our parents. I'm kind of from, I think, the generation where you'd only get introduced by your brothers. Probably my parents just didn't play video games at all. They didn't really know what they were that much, so I didn't really have that generation, especially here in Ireland. No one in Ireland played video games from the generation above me, or not the generation above me, the generation 2 above me would not play video games at all. That just wasn't a thing at all. Dale Taylor, I can't exactly remember the first game I played because I was quite young, but I remember playing a point-and-click Blue's Clues game. That's fantastic. But as my first home console game, I think it was Looney Tunes Back in Action for the GameCube. Also, thanks for the trip down memory lane. Oh my god, I remembered this game on like the PlayStation, I think. I remember the title screen. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Dale, but I remember it being like very dark, like in the backgrounds. It had like a bunch of different selections and it looked like it was in the jungle. Am I wrong in saying this? It looked like there was like a jungle background. And I don't know, man. I remember the title screen vividly. Like, not vividly, but like in the back of my head, I remember it. I remember it very, very clearly, I guess. So Zanpan Khan. So Zambakan has 5 here, which again is fine. I like, again, just for this one, because I think I'm gonna have to like change rules around the place for everyone if like we get more. I'm not saying I'm not grateful for everything, but I just feel like to make it more manageable. Super Mario 64. This is what I believe to be my first game. If I remember correctly, it was a gift on Christmas that I got. I remember sinking so many hours into that game, pondering how good it looked and how magical it felt. The mechanics felt so tight back then. The controls felt intuitive. The levels were unique, etc. These qualities definitely made little me very happy in playing the game. Super Mario 64, again, like that's a game that I know a lot of people played first, and to play a game like that first, like again, I don't, it's not my favorite game in the world. When I played it, I wasn't having the best time in the world. But like, again, a game like that coming out back then, it's just groundbreaking. Metal Gear Solid, man, this game, if I remember correctly, I've done 8 playthroughs of this game in my childhood, 24 now. I literally became a ninja. I mastered this game. Why? Because this game was the one that helped me get through a tough portion of my childhood. It also has a very intricate plot, amazing voice acting at the time. Yeah, no, I agree with the voice acting. I've heard a bit of it, and yeah, I agree 100%. And impressive enemy mechanics / AI. The values that this game preached and the lessons this series as a whole taught me is still visible in adult me. And she put in brackets as well, I do not want to play through Calvin at all. Do not do a playthrough of Metal Gear Solid. Please never do a playthrough. Please, 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 please don't do it. No, I'm kidding. Still waiting for that playthrough, Calvin. Elder Scrolls, the Elder Scrolls Morrowind. This was that on one RPG where most kids spend countless hours in for me. This game sunk at my time. I replayed it 4 times, I believe, with all new characters and classes. I gave myself challenges to overcome, obstacles to defeat, spells to create, etc. It was with this game I discovered my love for medieval fantasy, and in turn, my love for history. So yeah, this game got me hooked on Dark Souls. That's a good way to get hooked on Dark Souls. Resident Evil 2, yes! This game gave me nightmares growing up. Goddamn you time. Yes, yes! Goddamn Mr. X. This remake is so good that it was fantastic. GTA Vice City, oh man, this game, this was a game, sorry for reading so fast. This game was, this game and me, I'm reading very poorly here. My friend secretly bought with our pocket money and played secretly without her parents. Oh my god, it's so good. I never was able to do that, but that's so good. We reveled in the game's mafia boss type attitude with selling drugs and guns. We felt like total rebels and gangsters. Hey, we were emo teens, okay? No, fuck yeah, man. I was an emo teen too, okay? I was totally on board with that, man. Totally. I have so many more fond memories with these games, but the post is way too long, and I want everyone's post to be on the video without my munching up the time. Really sorry about how long-winded it became. I was very passionate about this topic. Sorry again. Do not be sorry. Do not be sorry. I put no limits on this thing. I put no limits on it. Nifan or Nifan I'm gonna say. I'm probably older than most people here. As far as I remember, the first game I played was Super Mario Bros. For the NES. Whoa. But I also remember playing Super Mario Bros. 3, Contra, Tanks, Bomberman, Roller Games, Ninja Turtles, and many more. But I think the first one indeed was Super Mario Bros. None of these games were the favorite of my childhood though. Yeah, I think that's the big difference. You know, a lot of people, their first game might not be their favorite. Like I remember... well, I'm going to do a video on my first ever games that I played, but I'm not going to give it away, but they're not necessarily going to be your favorite. One that stood out to me was Bomberman. Me and my sister used to play Bomberman Hardball for the PS2, and we didn't do any of the games, we just dressed up the character all the time. We were freaking casuals. But yeah, Super Mario Bros. I think I played that a while back on the channel. I called it, I was very shameful. I called it the Calvicade. Right? But then I deleted that series because I came up with a review series called The Calvicade, and I was like, I don't want people to be confused. You know what I mean? Liam Hill, my first game. I believe it was Ocarina of Time back on the N64. I can remember trying to find the last 2 rupees for the Deku Shield right at the start for so long. And how many tries and rupees, oh my god, rupees, it took my kid self to save Epona from Lon Lon Ranch because I really didn't want her to get sent to Ganondorf. I was also really scared of the Re-Deads. Is that how you pronounce it? Re-Deads? Red-Deads? When I was a kid, and I would make my older sister run past and beat them if she was around. That's so funny. And now I still play Ocarina of Time probably once a year or 100%, depends on how I feel. Zelda games are probably one of the biggest parts of my childhood, and I embrace that fact. I, of course, got into Zelda very late, but the one thing I acknowledge all the time, even though Ocarina of Time is literally my least favorite of all the Zelda series, I acknowledge 100% that game, not even for its time, but like, you know, for many years afterwards, was like the reason that video games are the way they are today. Like, I wouldn't have all my favorite games without Ocarina of Time, and to play that game in your childhood, man, like, I would imagine like getting sunk into that game, but I didn't even know Ocarina of Time existed when I was a kid. I didn't even know it existed. Mohan Gruel. I vaguely remember this, but I know my first game was Donkey Country 2 on the SNES. I played one level at Canoe 1, and I was playing as Diddy collecting bananas. That's all I remember. That's pretty much like what a lot of people feel. I feel like it's like you have this memory in the back of your head of the game you played, you know, and it's not always as clear. It's not always as clear, but like I've never played a Donkey Kong game, so I think that's probably gonna have to change. Ta Epic Duck 123. My first ever video game memory is from Xena Warrior Princess fighting game on the Nintendo 64. I probably played a couple of other games first, but if I did, they were probably lame free computer games and I don't remember them. But back to the Xena game, my dad would get me and my brother and we play it when my mom wasn't home. I remember she would get mad if she saw us playing it because I had like pixelized blood when you get hit, so we didn't play it often, but I remember thinking it looked so cool and the graphics looked epic. So yeah, that's my earliest memory of a video game. Man, like those type of stories of like, again, like the comment earlier, like when it's like secrecy and like you have to like play this game in secret. I remember like with Resident Evil 2, me and my sister, like my brother got a loan of it for the PlayStation. When my brother was out, me and my sister like snuck it and like played it, and we screamed our heads off at the first part of the game, and like of course then our parents found out and were like, what are you doing? It was such a great moment, but like those type of feels, man, feels so freaking good. Mark Morrow, I love the way, by the way, I know this is weird, but Mark Morrow, can I just say this right now, the name, it's like Mark Maron, like the actor, and I love the way it sounds. I just love, like, who doesn't like saying Mark Morrow or Mark Maron? It's just like together, 2 M's just sound good together. Sorry for being weird, but I just like 2 M's as a name. One of my first memory of a video game is definitely Rayman 2 in the N64. Rayman's a great character. I didn't play it seriously, but it was so much fun playing with my brother. The first game I played seriously was probably Banjo-Kazooie. And I played Rayman 3 and 2 on the PlayStation, and man, no better way to start really. There is so many great ways to start, but like if you had to start somewhere, Rayman is such a great place to start. Such a fantastic way to start. I freaking love that, man. Bean Shadow Thief 14. Great name. My first ever video game was Super Monkey Ball for the GameCube. It was challenging and fun with a variety of mini games. Good times. 1 second. Let me read this out here. On my shelf, I have a game called Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz. I think I got it one time for my birthday, but forgot to actually play it fully. I think I probably played it, but I think it's just a bunch of mini games. I don't know much more about Super Monkey Ball, but like, it's really great to see like this diverse selection of video games that like I don't even know sometimes. 13 Carry One Productions. My first video games were on the Commodore 64, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Galaxia, Summer Games, and Winter Games. Love these classics. My first handheld games was Donkey Kong Land on the Game Boy. I really love the Donkey Kong series to this day. Well, I have to fucking try it because everyone loves Donkey Kong. Like, I think like the guys I really trust with Reviews Easy Allies, they talk about Donkey Kong all the time, especially Tropical Freeze, and I think they call that game a 10. They say like it's a 10. It's a perfect platformer, and I have to freaking try them, and I just have to. Minish Mai. There are a couple of games I remember playing all the time as a kid, and then being my first ones. Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy. Growing up, I had a PS2 and eventually a GameCube come later. But for the most part, I was a PS2 kid. My dad played Jak and Daxter all the time, and he'd also let me play. I have vivid memories of the levels and how if you swam out too far in the ocean, a shark would eat you. I saw this recently. My friend showed me this. It's actually really cool. The characters have very much a special place in my heart, and as much as I love the sequels, the first games also have a special place in my heart. Yeah, I've seen like the openings to my friends always trying to get me to play the Jak and Daxter series. Kingdom Hearts. Like Thackeray, I watched my dad play this a lot as a kid, and then I played it myself once he beat it. It was mostly me just messing around at different levels since I didn't really have a grasp on it or what I had to do. Most of the times, it resulted in my dad having to navigate me out of the level and then get me to a different one. The haha is very necessary because like I had to do that too sometimes. Like there was one handicap match in SmackDown 2, I believe, that I couldn't do. It's like a handicap match is like a 2-on-1 match. I couldn't do, so I always got my brother waiting for him to come home for him to finish it for me because you had to go through all the story mode like multiple times to get all the characters. But as I got older, I finally beat the game for myself, and now this series means a lot to me. Because of all the fond memories I had watching my dad play it. Animal Crossing. GBC, Game Boy Color, is it? Animal Crossing Game Boy Color? I don't know, man. I don't know the Animal Crossing series. I'm gonna sound like an idiot. I know I said the GameCube came later in my life, but the Animal Crossing was definitely one of my first games on that console, so it's the GameCube. Okay, that's what it means. I remember putting hours into this game, despite the villagers all hating me for some reason. I kept coming back and playing in the town for hours at a time. If I hadn't played this, I probably would have never gotten into the newer games in the series. The only thing I can think to complain about with this game is how utterly terrifying it was shaking a tree and seeing a hive falling out of it. 7-year-old me was traumatized. But that's the thing, man, childhood trauma. There's a whole video series done by YMS on this. You should look it up, guys. I remember the my childhood trauma was like playing Spyro the Dragon, and like it was one of the PlayStation 2 Spyro the Dragons, and like the purple spiders. I look back at them now and they're not scary at all, but Jesus Christ. Michael Braun, guys. Michael Braun. I know, like, it's probably weird, but if you ever heard of the Church of Braun, oh my god. About time I participate in one of these, so get ready for me to basically come out of the closet as older than shit. My first video game experience was in the 80s at a local arcade called Pinocchio's. Pinocchio's, yes. Pinocchio's. My father was addicted to a game called Mrs. Pac-Man, and when my brothers and I were old enough, he started taking us with him. I can't remember for certain whether what I played was the first was Miss Pac-Man, or it was what I played first was Miss Pac-Man, or if it was actually Pole Position. But it was definitely one of those. Q*bert, Donkey Kong, Dig Dug, and Lock and Chase were other cabinets I dabbled a little in. I sucked shit at every one of them. Watching my dad play Miss Pac-Man, however, was a marvel to behold. He would even spend long stretches of time with the board cleared of all but one of 2 pellets. Plus, some or all of the power pellets that you eat to turn ghosts vulnerable. Man, I'm so sorry if I'm reading this improperly. Like, I know nothing about Pac-Man. He was no more concerned with reaching the next level as he was with making sure he milked every board for the max points possible and holding the high score on that machine. This means he would meander around for a few minutes and ends and refrained from eating a power pellet until he got all 4 ghosts huddled together in one spot so he could collect the 200 points, 400 points, 800 points, and 1600 points combo. And he would do it almost every fucking time. And still make it all the way to Act 3 Junior. Even now, I own Miss Pac-Man on the Namco collection released for the GameCube and pop it in on occasion. I try to emulate my late father's style of play, but it never works out nearly as well as when he would do it. To this day, I also still never made it to the junior level. I also ain't never seen no queen in her damn undies. What does that mean? As for the earliest experience in home video gaming goes, well, we had an Atari 2600 growing up and a handful of games. Really not sure which ones I played first, but I do remember which one I was the bomb diggity shit at. That was Defender. That is truly the first video game of my life that I ever got really good at. Nobody in the household ever beat me, ever. Shoot 'em ups are one of my favorite genres and still largely because of it. I broke many high score on some Galaga cabinets as well. One of my other favorites for the Atari was a game simply titled Adventure. I credit that a lot, for the love of Legend of Zelda that I would eventually acquire. When I first laid eyes on the Legend of Zelda for the NES back then, it just reminded me so much of that game, and I fell in love almost immediately. And in case you're confused, that deal about the Queen of the Undies was a quote from the Big Lebowski. Okay, I was a little bit confused. It's crazy, man. It's great, and it's awesome that it's so awesome that someone has been playing games for that long and from that generation. I'm sorry for the long pause. I was just thinking there for a second. I wasn't being man, this is some deep shit. I was just thinking for a second. But back in the 80s, I wasn't born. You know what I mean? There's this kind of not wall, but there's this whole generational gap thing, but at the same time it's been bridged because of how many games have been brought over to this generation. It's crazy. It's honestly crazy. Thanks, Michael Braun. That was actually pretty freaking awesome to hear that. It was really cool because again, it's stuff that I wasn't really and I'm just saying this as a cool thing, not trying to make you feel old because I know you're not old as shit. We're only as old as we feel. But it's kind of this really cool thing that now we have all those games that we can play, arcade games even on modern consoles, but not all of them. There's still some games I'm never gonna get that experience of going to an arcade and playing games in it. I had it once when I was younger, but it was a retro arcade, which I feel aren't the same thing. They're just not the same thing. Logo C. Luigi's Mansion was my first game. It's extremely nostalgic for me. I almost combusted in excitement when the remake was released. I played Luigi's Mansion 2 on the 3DS. I like them. I like the atmosphere. You guys know how I love haunted houses. Really cool. Syntheris. I'm not sure exactly because my first exposure to video games was when I went to play by my cousin's house. I don't remember them having a PS1, SNES, or Sega or anything. By the way, guys, I'm reading poorly, but I just want you to know, I just want to cut me some slack, alright? Because reading big walls of text for 40 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, it's not the easiest thing to do, okay? I never cut myself some slack. I'm cutting myself some slack today, okay? I remember an N64, PS2, GameCube, and so on down the timeline of console releases, I'm almost 100% positive that it was on the N64. Really, it could be any number of things that came out prior to 2000, but as far as I can tell, it was Super Mario 64. Again, I talked about it earlier, it's a good way to start. It is a good way to start. Oh god, this is going to be long. Don't worry about it. My first video game, by the way, only Sage, I hope I said that. My first video game was Super Mario Land for the Game Boy Advance SP, and I loved it. I had one of those as well, I loved it too. But I barely remember it. It's so crazy. I was so young, and a few weeks ago I played it again on the Super Nintendo by my cousin, and I was so amazed that I started to remember every single fucking tune of every melody, and I got so nostalgic that I almost cried. I fucking love people swearing, man. It's my favorite fucking thing in the world. I fucking love it. We should swear more. I grew up with video games, and I'm pretty sure my real first game ever was Ocarina of Time in N64. I played it with my grandpa when I was 6. That's really sweet, and I loved it so much. I was just amazed by the graphics and the music and the story. Even if my 6-year-old ass could barely understood what was going on, I loved it with my whole heart, and it's a huge part of my childhood. It's still my second favorite game of all time, and the first game I really remember playing. I'm actually replaying it right now for like the 100th time. And dude, I'm actually really sorry for this long ass comments. Every time I get way too nostalgic. Again, don't worry about the comments. Again, I'm probably going to be making a change to it next time just because there's so many comments this time. And again, I know that seems kind of like, hey, thanks for being nice and commenting on my videos. Now I'm gonna say you can't do it as long, but like, no, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. 100% okay with it. Stan Talent, I love the name. My first video games were Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on the N64 when I was 4 or 5 years old. My earliest memories of Ocarina of Time are being terrified of being chased by the Peahats in Hyrule Field and being terrified of the Gibdo's scream. Gibdo's scream? Is that right? Whenever I became adult Link, I made my older sister run by the Gibdos of the castle town for me. I had nightmares about them, and my only memories of playing Majora's Mask as a child are being very creeped out by the mask salesman and having a lot of fun helping Malon and her alien invasion situation. Also, I was obsessed with the Zoras, and I'm still a bit obsessed with them. We're on the same wavelength here. We're on the same wavelength here. Zoras. Best race. We're all in agreement. It's official. It's official now. It's not even a thing. It's an official thing. It's official Roamer channel thing. We love the Zoras. Kelsey Kirsten, my first video game that I remember was Ocarina of Time. My dad had purchased the game for himself, and I watched him play it through it as a 6-year-old before taking it on myself after he had finished it. It's one of my fondest memories and is now my favorite Zelda game. We didn't have access to walkthroughs at times, so we had to figure everything out with no help, and it was incredibly fun. See, the thing is, that's kind of how, I play Dark Souls now, I guess, or the Souls games, or, even, any Familia UA games. I'm like, I do not look up a walkthrough, because, again, man, those feelings as a kid when you didn't have, online walkthroughs, and you had to, either go to the shop and buy a 14-year-old, book, or you had to, just play the game and figure it out yourself. Louis Cartoony, my first game was The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, so I didn't really play it, I just did the GOAT minigame. That's a good as minigame as any, to be honest. Inspiración Original. My first game ever was Super Mario for the original Nintendo. Was pretty rad feeling. I almost forgot having that memory. Thanks. See, this is another running theme. People saying thanking me for reawakening this thing, man. Fuck yeah. Let's all think about our childhood, man, because you know what? It was good times. It was good times. Negaliator. I would say SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom on PS2 or Spyro the Dragon for PS1. I can't remember which though. However, nonetheless, they were both amazing. Again, any SpongeBob game. I remember the SpongeBob game being advertised and being like, this looks really freaking cool and I can't wait to play this. And the Spyro game also. But yeah, really, really good. Purple Dragon 19. For me, I think it was SpongeBob SquarePants Atlantis on the Wii. I mentioned this before, but probably my favorite SpongeBob episode. Yes, I know I've come a long way. Still give me 6 hours, I could beat it again in one go. Oh my god, man. That's such a good episode. I can't imagine what the game would be like. I'm gonna have to look this up afterwards. That's fucking awesome. Anime Romance. I keep getting this name wrong. I was 9 and my father, who was living 3 hours away, sent me for my 9th birthday a Nintendo DS with Animal Crossing Wild World. I remember I was so happy, and for the next 3 months I was non-stop playing this game. And to this day, it's in my top 5. Again, that's a sweet memory, you know? I think my favorite games of all time that I remember were games that my grandmother bought for me. You know, she bought me one game a year, my mother bought me one game a year, and then I would that's all I would get for the year. But it's really freaking awesome, those type of memories. Gaming level 9001. Donkey Kong 64. It was beautiful. I bet it was. Dylan Singwald? First video game was Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg when I was 2. Second was Mario Sunshine. Man, I don't know what the fuck that is, I'll be honest, but it sounds cool. Ayub Aladdin, is that how you say it? Ayub Aladdin? I'm so sorry for butchering your name. Super Mario Bros. Is the first game I played. I think I was 4 and it was the only game I had. I used to wake up every day at 5 a.m. to play it. That was the best thing ever. Man, those are good feelings too. I remember being told off by my mother one time because I was I woke up to watch wrestling DVDs because I was like, man, I just got these wrestling DVDs and I watched them once. I was like, I can't wait to see them again. So I woke up at 3 a.m. when my brother was asleep in the same room and I turned it on really quietly but But the problem was like I pressed the wrong button. I turned up really loud, so like the intro music like had this like really like rocking music, you know, like, and I remember the word adrenaline, just like, you know, adrenaline, and like it was like blared through the house, and like everyone woke up and I got in trouble. It was really sad. Nightmare. My first video game, or the earliest memory that survived, was me playing Super Mario Bros. 3 at the age of 3 on my dad's NES. That he had as a kid. I remember vividly growing and grew up playing it so much I still remember all the secrets. It's a game that truly has a special place in my heart and will stick with me always. I still have the original cartridge that I played on as well, and it is by far one of my most precious possessions, and in my opinion the most valuable game that I possess, regardless of monetary worth. Well, I mean that's the case though, isn't it? Like I have some like are again worth nothing, but I love them to pieces, and like hopefully I can talk about them in a video I want to make later on in the month. One of my favorite game names ever. Paper Mario 64 is better than the Thousand Year Door. I never played Thousand Year Door, but I love Paper Mario 64. I don't remember what was the first game I ever played before, but my oldest memory is playing, you guessed, Paper Mario 64. It's so good. It's like perfect. And I was at the part where you have to remember where the fuzzy is, and my family wanted to watch TV, so I couldn't save and I had to do it all over again. I'm telling this right now, to me, that is a perfect game. It's just a great, perfect game. There's nothing wrong with it. And people might be like, well, Calvin, what about this? What about this? I don't give a shit. I ain't listening. Go home. I love Paper Mario 64 so much. June with the great Avatar. My first game, I'm going to have to think about that for a bit. But my earliest gaming memory is playing Lego Batman for the PS2. I honestly got hooked on the game and played it like 30 times over. And 1 or 2 years ago, I decided to go back and play it, and I still really enjoy it. My first game in general was probably Super Mario Sunshine or Wind Waker, but I can't remember anything about it when I played them all the way back then. I love Lego Batman. I know Lego Batman 2 was like open world. I played like Lego Batman 1, actually, I think. I got it with free with a racing game. Really good. And of course, Wind Waker's fantastic. Who doesn't love a good Wind Waker, man? Let's all play Wind Waker again. Let's just do it. Jessica Freiberger. I'm so sorry, guys. Please correct me with pronunciation so I remember next time, and I will remember next time, okay? My sisters and I got GameCube for Christmas, our first video game console. The first game I played in it was Wind Waker, and to this day, it is both my favorite game and my favorite video game franchise. I love Wind Waker. If you've ever seen my playthrough of that game, I adore it. I know a lot of people give me shit for not doing all the side stuff, but like, I didn't care. I just love that game with all my fucking heart. I really do. Clark Shark. My first game was Mario Galaxy. It's still a fantastic game. I own 2 of them. We're going to play them at some point. Well, I'm actually worried about playing them, I'll be honest, because I don't know if you've seen comments on my old Mario Bros. Luigi U playthrough, but Jesus Christ, some people are just like, please stop playing Mario. Don't ever do it again. And I understand why people might be like, I don't want to watch this, but at the same time, man, video games are just fun. Let's all just have fun with video games. Sir Something. I know I played Wii Sports and New Super Mario Bros. U first, but I never really got into those games. I barely remembered them. The first video game I really got into was Super Paper Mario. I remember getting that game and absolutely loving it. I had fun with every world, and the story confused me as a kid, but I grew up slowly, started to continue to understand. I would definitely call it my favorite game of all time, and got to this channel looking up a Let's Play of it after deciding I wanted some nostalgia. Only problem with it is I got disappointing in the Paper Mario 64 after getting that game on the eShop because it was different. There's so many tales I could tell about my experience with Super Paper Mario, like how I told my music teacher that a girl, Mimi, snapped her neck in Chapter 2 in the game I was playing, but that would make a comment too long. Wow. Can you imagine actually doing that though? Going to, hey, teacher! This girl snapped her neck, okay? I don't know, man. Like that's great though. But like, yeah, freaking Wii Sports. I fucking love that game. New Super Mario was Wii. I never played. But again, Super Paper Mario. I'm playing it now. I fucking love it. I fucking adore it. Jimmy T. Long ago, when I was like 5, I was at my babysitter's house, and her niece had an Atari. I didn't take a nap during nap time, and I watched her playing Space Invaders, and she noticed me and she let me play. It was awesome. 26 years later, and I'm still in love with video games. Man, again, like I love these stories because like we can relate to them. You kind of get shivers hearing them because you're like, man, that's like, yeah, I remember this type of stuff. I remember playing like this. Like it feels so good. Clay Kennedy, Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. Again, another game I just have not gotten around to play, but I would definitely like to play at some point. Jude Weixner, again, correct me guys, don't be afraid to give me the exact pronunciation, I will remember for next time. Earthbound, I remember I asked for Final Fantasy 3 and when Gravity mixed it up with Earthbound, and at first I wasn't pleased, but after playing through it, I took back all my complaints. The game changed my world, and it's still one of my favorite games, and eventually I got Final Fantasy 3, but I never enjoyed it as I did Earthbound. Man, I own Earthbound. I would love to play through it on the channel at some point. I don't know how many people would actually be interested in that, but I would love to play through the whole fucking thing on the channel. I got to the first few areas, but I thought it was really tough, but I think it might be a good challenge just to be like, going to a game where I know I'm going to get my ass handed to me all the fucking time. Like, it would be a great feeling to do that. Guys, I hope I didn't miss anyone, but that's all the comments that I see on the video here. That was a lot, but you know what? It was fun. It was fun, and we got to like have a lot of great discussions. As of recording this video is 15 minutes, which is fine. It's grand. It's more than manageable. It's going to be edited down as well, so it won't be too long. But the point of this is basically to get a connection with the community, to get make you feel like the community is not just a channel that's a one-way system. I know that people might say like, well, I tried to do this. I tried to make sure that my channel has a feeling that like everyone's involved and everyone's playing together, and I hope I have that feeling. With the community videos, it's a case where I just like to hear from you guys and hear answers to your questions and stuff like this. Now, I do have some suggestions for the next one, since there is a lot of long things. I think I might actually like limit the. I know it's probably people probably like, Calvin, why are you doing this? But I'm just gonna say my throat is not feeling good, and this isn't your fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's not a bad thing. But like I just want to make sure that we all have fun. I'm thinking maybe we do 2 parts, or we shorten down the videos. I think 2 parts might make more sense. Community, instead of calling it the community video, call it like the community series for February part 1 or something, for April part 1. I think doing in 2 parts would be better than silencing you guys and stifling your creativity, because you guys write really well and you have a lot of great memories, and I learn more about you, and I don't think I'll be able to do that with a word limit. So I think maybe 2 parts might be a better idea. And that way we can all enjoy this in a very, very concise and nice manner. I hope it doesn't seem like I'm like slapping people on the wrist for something that they didn't even do. But I will see you guys very soon, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I enjoyed making it, and yeah, bye-bye.